What do you think it's gonna be like?
It will be a kind world. Sleep well. I'll tuck in the children. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
It's a turn-based 4X strategy game developed by Firaxis and published by 2K Games. It's a pseudo-sequel to Civilization V and a spiritual successor to 1999's Alpha Centaurai, and you have to build up a fledgling civilization on a distant planet, tackling the strange and alien obstacles that come with it. The graphics and animations look great, the interface is clear and functional for the most part, the game does actually have an intriguing setting, and it's great to finally get some kind of successor to Alpha Centaurai. The game has a drastic lack of variety with many samey looking units. The tech tree, although an interesting variant on the classic design, doesn't really make much sense in terms of its progression. The world, despite being alien, doesn't really feel in any way deep or interesting, and the miasma, although clearly meant to mimic the xenofungus in Alpha Centaurai, only ends up being a nuisance rather than a logical impediment to progress. I may be focusing on the comparison between Beyond Earth and Firaxis' earlier game a little too much, but I'm not sure how it's possible not to compare them. Effectively, Beyond Earth is a spiritual successor, but it's just a shame that it doesn't exactly live up to the standards of its predecessor. While Alpha Centaurai had a lot of its own problems, like a clunky interface and rigid controls, which Beyond Earth admittedly improves on with its streamlined design ported over from Civ 5, it lacks all of the depth and charm. Beyond Earth is at the very least a well-designed game, with potential for a lot of enjoyable gameplay, only during my time with it never really grabbed me and pulled me into its world. Everything was mechanically there and well polished, but never did I feel the game had a personality of its own. This is partly due to the lack of variety and the clunky way it delivers its story missions, but mostly it's down to its general lack of soul, an ineffable quality that I can't really put my finger on. I would say that it feels more like an unfinished fan mod to Civ 5, but that would be an insult to some genuinely great fan mods out there. The expansion Rising Tide went a little way to giving the game more of a much needed personality, with sea bases and additional units, but still fell short of what it could have been. Rather than the era-spanning epic of the base Civilization games, or the hard-earned evolution of humanity to transcendence like you got in Alpha Centaurai, Beyond Earth is a functionally but ultimately disappointing entry, but is not so much bad as forgettable. And for the successor of one of my favourite strategy games, this is probably the worst possible outcome. So if anybody knows of a mod that recreates the Alpha Centaurai experience in the way Beyond Earth failed to, then please let me know.